This is so funny. My battery died. Last time we talked to each other, it was straight up battery died, which is hilarious because it was the day before I went to vacation, to break, to February break. Hi, and thanks for tuning in. This is the Learn with John Eick podcast, and it is day 114 on my 180-day drive to and from work. I'm actually coming home from work today. Long story short, I couldn't podcast on the way into work today, and today is my first day back from February break. Now, if you've been listening to the podcast, I know there's been pods all week last week. That's because I kind of held them in the tank and didn't post them until I came back from February break. So what's funny is, last time we talked, I am on my way to work on the day before I go to February break. It's a Friday. You know that day before break where you're like, your battery's low, and literally my battery was low on my phone, and halfway through a sentence, my phone just died. And I was like, well, should I post my podcast? Yeah, I'm gonna post it anyway. What do I care? Like, I'm just gonna post it. So if you were listening and I cut off at the end there, sorry about that. But I thought it was kind of funny that it was the day before break, and my battery died, metaphorically and literally. Well, I'm now on day 114. I had a 5-day February break, which was golden. I didn't really have 5 days off. I only took 3 days off, but and worked 2 days. But I love it. It was break. Everybody got to go home. It rained a bunch here in Sacramento, so a lot of rainy day recess for people, I think, over break, which is gold. And I think it was super chill. So we came back today, and it was the funniest thing. I mean, it rained, it drizzled on and off all day, but it looked like it was cleaning up for a moment there in the afternoon, and then right as the bell rang, I mean, literally, it was like, oh, it's kind of drizzling, and then the bell rang to release children from school, and the clouds burst, and the rain came down so hard, and we were all walking out, helping the kids find their way to their cars, and it was just a mess. It was just, I think it's funny because, of course, that's how it rolled, right? Not funny, haha, but just funny, like, you know how it goes. It's a complicated deal running schools, man, and running a day of anything with 1,000 or so people involved, right? More than 1,000 in our case. But that's not what we're gonna jam on today. What are we jamming on today as I come back into this podcast series on day 114? It's almost hard to believe that it is day 114, but I spent most of today not thinking about the rest of this year, which is wild because you're like, hey, it's late February. You got all of March, April, and May before school lets out. You got a lot of work to do. Like, put your head down, stick your nose to the grindstone and get it done. Well, I mean, I want everyone to be doing that, but someone's got to be looking ahead at next year, being like, hey, what is the future hold for us? And I was speaking with our staff. I don't know if I told you this last week or not. Now I'm embarrassed if I repeat myself, but I was speaking to my staff about, our school has been for many years recognized as an innovator. We are actually, for those who don't know, I operate a little public charter school. Now, people don't really know what a charter school is, and we're just a public school, with our own school board. The reason that charters kind of exist is because at some point in 1996, the legislature said, hey, you can go charter your own public school, utilize public dollars to try education in an innovative and new way, and if it works out, like, maybe we'll all learn from each other. And then it became, very politically divisive, and certain entities will point the finger at other entities and whatever. I don't like to talk about it too much because this ain't a politics podcast. That's for another riff. But we have often been pointed to as a very innovative organization, and I'm very proud of the work that we've done as an innovative organization. We've led the way in lots of ways, and I've boasted about that many a time, about the cool work that we've done. But we started talking as a school about what is the next innovation. And I think often people think about, technology is the innovation. And yeah, I get it. We got, me, I love me some artificial intelligence, the conversation around, robotics, the human genome, all the things that those innovative industry sectors that will lead into the future. Those are innovations worth discussing in our curricular design and development and how we conceptualize college and career readiness. But there is an innovation right now in education that needs to be described and discussed and experimented with, and that is the innovation around how we utilize time and what we expect of our educators. And I don't really know how to handle it, but I do know that by talking with the incredible people that I work with, the teachers, the classified staff, the administrative teams, even the, bringing the parents on board, like, what do we all expect of one another in this increase where we know that in this industry where there's seemingly a never-ending increase in demand. Recently in the news, there's another horrific event regarding, a potential, shooting near a school. And it's like, has this just become a part of the regular echo chamber that we should all expect to be a part of? Okay, well, that's a disruptive new addition to the canon of expectation in this industry. I would like to reject that. We should just expect that gun violence is going to be a part of our existence. I would like to reject that, given the current staffing that we have, that the expectations to be not only like practitioners of developing, the educational competencies of our students is what we do, but also like, we're asking people to be more or less social workers and to worry about the social emotional development of students as well as the academic development. And we're asking for people to do more and more and more and more without ever saying, okay, but what more resources do we have? And it's not just the resource of pay me more, because the truth is, me, John Eick, you could pay me as much as you want. It's not going to make me a social worker. I haven't been trained to do that. I'm not. That's not my jam, and I get it. I guess I can get some more training, but that would be a resource that would be provided. So I think this is a really interesting moment right now. It's funny because here I am riffing at the end of a school day versus the beginning of a school day, and clearly I'm tired because I don't think my words in my brain are operating as sharply as maybe they do in the morning with that first cup of coffee. But this idea that like the next innovation in education might be the processes, practices, and procedures as they apply to the staff as opposed to the student. So for years, we've been tinkering with, hey, what does small grouping, flexible small groupings do for student learning? What does the infusion and the integration of instructional technology do for the student? What is utilizing flexible blocks of time built into a schedule do for the student, right? What is the affect on the student when we implement protocols, practices, and procedures? And there may be a moment right now where the next innovation is, what is a protocol, practice, and procedure that is intentionally designed to have an affect on the staff member? And for years I've said, like, hey, look, if you take care of your staff, then your staff are going to be able to take care of their students. But it's a different moment in this industry. I spoke with a wonderful educator just recently who's like, hey, I'm out. I got my real estate license. I'm going into real estate. My husband and I are going, and I'm like, hey, good on you. I love it. I wish you well. But a little part of me is like, oh, you're good at this. Like, but it's a tough industry, and we've traditionally had high turnover in this industry. A lot of first-year teachers don't make it to their 6th year because they're like, hey, this ain't for me. I think now more than ever, innovations around the working environment are probably the next innovations. I don't know if I told you guys this on the pod, but like, maybe that's what I was talking about on Friday when the camera died, or when the recording died. One of the things we were piloting right now is like, okay, we've canceled half of our staff meetings and embedded all of our committee meetings into like the work day to make all professional development kind of job embedded, as opposed to like requiring after school time to be a part of. Now, we have a really robust shared leadership model, so that we're always kind of at the table together making decisions, and I think we like that. I think our staff are like, hey, I feel so included and I feel so a part of this, and I know this, through talking with them, but also, through lots of survey work, listening to staff through survey work, like, hey, people take pride in having a seat at the table and being able to create shared understandings and shared meanings and shared decision making. And we call that shared leadership in my organization. We like that, but the impact is like it takes time and take an innovative approach to like how do we capture that time during the work day, as opposed to like bleeding into these after school committees, is somewhat of an innovation for us anyway. And so I'm really interested to see what happens as we start to say what protocols, practices, and procedures would we consider innovative as they apply to the affect that they have on staff rather than students. And I think that'll be an interesting challenge in the industry right now. All right, I'm kind of pulling into my destination right now. I really appreciate you listening to the show and being part of this whole jam. I'm 114 days in, and at some point I'll make sense before the whole thing wraps up in the 180th day. Anyway, my name is John Eick. Thanks for listening. I appreciate you. You catch me on the Twitters at John_Eick. We'll catch you next time.